Okay, here we go for the last video. We're starting on day 19. Um, my niece, right here, isn't she cute? She was born on December 18th, and I remember when she was born thinking, my first thought was, oh great, now I have to get another Christmas present, which I know sounds really selfish, but I think I found out early in the morning and I wasn't quite awake. But anyways, I digress. Even though her birthday was on the 18th, we celebrated her birthday on the 19th. And this was something we needed desperately. We needed a distraction from everything that was going on in our family. And this really helped to provide that distraction. It was just me and my family, and then my sister-in-law and her 3 kids and her oldest daughter's boyfriend that were there. My mother-in-law stayed at the hospital. And we were at a pizza parlor and just had a really nice laid-back celebration. And I talk about it here in my journaling, and there was one point I told my sister-in-law, it just feels so good to laugh. And it really did. Laughter was something that we just hadn't had for a while. These here are from Allie Edwards' cheer kit. So this and the craft paper strips here, and then the stamp was all from that kit. Day 20, Star Wars Day, finally. We went on Sunday night to the movie, and so here's me and my husband outside with the movie poster. The movie, I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet, but it was amazing. And one of the things that was remarkable was watching my husband throughout the movie, and I talk about that here in my journaling. He did not stop smiling throughout the entire movie. It was that good. And again, it was a nice little escape from what was going on in our family at the time. Okay, 21st. This was a story I actually had planned out ahead of time that I wanted to do this day. Living in Montana, it gets very dark very early around the winter solstice. And so I wanted to take a picture of something that was marking the time and then what it looked like outside. So it kind of would, show how early it gets dark here in the wintertime. I have seasonal affective disorder, and so the early winter nights really play a toll on me. I actually started taking vitamin D supplements this year, and it really has helped. But just to show what this time of year is like where we live. 22nd. We have a tradition with me and my kids. We go over to my mother's house and put up our decorations, and then she'll usually make either a dinner or dessert for us. Then we wrap everybody's presents, and then she lets us open up 1 or 2 early. And this was really nice for the kids back when they were little, because it helped to relieve that pressure of waiting until Christmas to open your presents. But it's something that we still do. And so here's the 3 of us at my mother's house. She jumped out of the picture right away because she hates having her picture taken. Okay. Day 23. And I just realized I didn't put a thing on here. I need to put a day sticker on here someplace. Okay, so day 23. My son works in retail, and this is another story I had planned out ahead of time that I wanted to tell. And retail, for those of you who have worked in it during a Christmas season, is probably the worst job on earth. Retail workers do not get enough credit for dealing with customers, especially the last couple of days before Christmas, when suddenly it's the workers' fault that there's no stock left in the stores. Not that I'm, not that I've been there or anything. So I wanted to talk about my son and how he really struggles through the holiday season working in retail. And I got to use this Bah Humbug thing from the Jasmine Jones kit. I thought, good chance for that. Okay, Christmas Eve. I said at the beginning that one of my focuses for the Christmas season was to focus on bringing in magic instead of stress. And we had a lot of stress, and I didn't try to mask it or pretend it wasn't there. But when we got to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, the magic was there. And that made, I think that made this whole project worth it, because I was still very focused on bringing the magic. And as I could see Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, it was there. Christmas Eve was very low-key. We always go over to my in-laws' house. My father-in-law was doing better, but he was still in the intensive care unit. And he insisted that we still do Christmas Eve at their house. We weren't sure if my mother-in-law was going to be there or not, so it would have been kind of weird if, you know, she wasn't there and we were still holding Christmas. But we were going to follow his wishes, and she ended up coming. So family at Christmas Eve. Just some pictures. I didn't do a whole lot of journaling here. My brother-in-law and his family live in Florida, so we set up a Skype chat. Here's my husband trying to fix some audio problems with that. So as you can see, it's just mostly focusing on the pictures. And then Christmas Day. Christmas Day, we always go over to my mother's house. My son was helping do some of the early prep for the meal. And then this is one thing I loved. With the stockings, my son got my daughter probably $20 worth of Minions junk at various dollar stores and dollar bins and things like that. She's obsessed with the Minions. And so here she is doing a coloring thing. Here she is putting together a puzzle. And then my son still loves Legos. So she got him a Star Wars TIE Fighter Lego set. And so he was putting that together. And then he also wanted one of those adult coloring books, the coloring therapy books. So here he is. And I took this series of pictures to show that even if you're in your 20s, you're still a kid. Because here they are playing with puzzles and Legos and coloring books. And then I had my journaling here. And I added another picture. My mother and I both are huge Washington Nationals fans. And her favorite player is Anthony Rendon. And they offered a gnome statuette as one of their prize incentive things this year. And so after the game, the day after that game, I went on eBay and found her one for a Christmas present. So I had to put that one in there too. And then just some final things here. I think things to kind of wrap up here. I think things that really helped me with this album this year. First off was to have some stories planned. So for those days where I didn't really have photos, or nothing really happened, or, you know, all hell broke loose and 5 days later I'm getting back to the album, it was helpful to have some stories already kind of in the can. And I had planned those out even before December started. Second thing, I think, was to keep myself present in the moment and remember documentation. So, and to think about ways that I could represent, you know, even the bad things that were happening, ways that I could represent that in the album. I'm not sure if I'll do this every year, but I guess maybe I'm just saying that now because I'm tired. And I'll probably next fall will get inspired to do another December daily album. But this album was really therapeutic for me this year. I want to thank you guys for watching. And I want to send a special thank you to Ellie Edwards for her inspiration throughout December, and her instruction and her focus on keeping it real, which helped me to keep it real. So thank you, Ellie. Have a good day.